Hello. You'll be working now. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure for us to be part of this event and to share discussing with you about digital procurement and the benefits that it can bring in terms of cost efficiency and resilience for the company. So I will be presenting today with my colleague Menut. My name is Yoliana Bayona. I am digital procurement lead in PwC Luxembourg, working with and we also have the participation of Isabel Carabini, the digital procurement partner lead in PwC. So I'm gonna have my audio is good. Please feel free to send your questions on the chat if you have any. We will go to the questions after the event. Okay, I think there is some trouble. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, it's better when you're closer to the mic, I think.
Okay.
Hello, by the way.
Yes. Thank you, Paul. So let's go on. So I will start with an introduction about digital procurement and what is the context that brings us to this discussion. So we have seen for the last years that there are various factors that are motivating companies to go digital, and not only on their facing customer-facing areas, but also on their back end. This includes procurement. I'm going to mention two topics that are quite relevant and that you might be familiar with. First, the shifts of economic gravity. What does it mean for the company? It means that if they want to open new business in different countries or continents, they need to think about how their supply chain strategy will be. What are going to be the challenges they will be facing, how they have an efficient distribution network, and also how they will manage now suppliers to have an efficient business implemented on this area. We have a second topic that is even more important and familiar for everyone, and it's the technological disruptions. We are going through technological disruptions that are impacting the way not only our customers, but also all the employees, we all socially act. And that means that everyone now needs to have faster access to information and that to be able to perform transactions, probably using your telephone or your applications. So that's something that in the end also impacts procurement. When we see what is happening after COVID, this is not changing a lot. What we noticed based on the CEO survey that has been performed this year in the COVID time is that, in fact, digitalization and virtualization have gone higher in the agenda of the CEOs. And that is completely aligned with what we were just discussing. This is probably also going to impact our procurement department, because it is a new way of working, and companies need to adapt and need to enable that ways of working for all the back office process. What is happening in Luxembourg specifically, and when we talk about COVID, how that can impact the company, we have three potential modes of response for the companies. We have first the survival mode, all those companies that are facing a massive drop and in their revenues, and which are more probably trying to reduce costs. Of course, their project and digitalization won't be any longer in the agenda, but cost reduction. And we have other two types of companies, which are the companies that have an adaptive mode, which are less also impacted by the situation. They have challenges, and they are adapting to have the new means required to adapt to the new way of working. And you have other scenarios that are even better, those companies that are positively impacted, that will be still in growth mode, and that in fact, innovation and digitalization will be part of their main priorities. So looking at this top-down, this is what is happening at the management level and company level, right? But let's go and see how this is impacting the procurement department and how their priorities are changing. What we have seen, also based on the procurement survey performed this year during the crisis, is that risk management is one of the topics that shifted the highest into the number of priorities that the procurement department had. And it made sense because, of course, the crisis bringing risks that are impacting suppliers and, in the end, all the procurement process. And that's why now we see that risk management, automation of risk management, is quite relevant for companies to be able to, in an agile way, to know what is the risk for these suppliers and how that can be better managed and monitored. Then we see that cost reduction continues to be part of the agenda. It went a bit up compared to last year, and we still have digital transformation and vendor sorting SRM in the third and fourth position. When we ask the CPOs, or the Chief Procurement Officers, or Procurement Directors, what is the most relevant case for them to automate? We see that the crisis did not actually impact this priority a lot, except for digitalization and risk management. This, on the digitalization area, we see that source to contract kind of went down into the priority list, and now risk management is the one taking the second place for the company. Completely aligned with what we saw previously as a result of the priority change. So this is the introduction to say, okay, it's still part of our companies or your companies. Digitalization is still part of this main priority. But do we understand why? And do we understand, in fact, what are the needs, the specific difficulties that the people on the procurement process, the main actors of the procurement process, are facing? So here I wanted to give you a quick overview of what are these people facing right now. So first, we have top management. The top management is wondering whether their spend is aligned with the budget. So how do they really control that the company is not spending more than what they have budgeted? And further, how they can make the process more efficient or reduce the cost of the current process and expense. Then you have as a second key stakeholder of the process, the buyers, who are facing the different, completely different challenges. What is the main worry of the buyer is how they can ensure that they get the best price of the market, and that in fact during the delivery process the price is respected. How do they make sure that in the end what the company is paying to these suppliers is what they have negotiated? And then you have a third stakeholder, is the finance department, who faces other different issues and actually are very related to the accuracy of the data. They have a big responsibility, not only on payments, but also on the financial reporting. And they need to go and reconcile all this information, and they do not know, in fact, how reliable is the information, and they spend a lot of time trying to do all this reconciliation process and wondering how can they reduce the time that they spend on the process. Also, for example, receiving the calls from suppliers to see where their invoice stands and trying to solve the different issues related to all the invoices. So if we go to the process view, and I wanted just to highlight here some pain points that we see from process perspective and what are the solutions that can be found in a digital procurement, which will help to reduce all these errors. Second, to improve the time to complete the process significantly and the time invested on the process, correcting errors and reprocessing. Then, if we look at the process, first, process irregularities can happen along all the source to pay contract process. And why? Because today, most of the companies, they have say a disaggregated process with fragmented technology or very manual activities that do not allow to connect the different steps, and of course, the possibility to have errors around the process is very high. How a digital solution can help, and I think this is the magic of the digital procurement solution, when you have it fully integrated and the full suite implemented, you reduce completely, you remove completely the time that you need to spend doing reconciliations among the different steps and the time that you need to spend going back and resolving issues that are only discovered at the end of the process when you are doing your invoice you're intending to do your invoice pay. All types of issues that are normally facing our actors or companies related to this process is shortage of supply. We saw before, for example, the buyers, how they can get to obtain the best list of suppliers and prices in the market. The digital procurement solutions today manage very interesting e-catalogs that are connected to, for example, Amazon and other websites, which gives you all the information up to date and which enables them to have more negotiation power. And I'm not going too far. Of course, the digital procurement solution, especially on these sourcing sites, will help to have a good visibility and governance of that sourcing process, meaning that you should not receive any authorized order because you have traceability of the request for proposal, proposal assessment, and selection process. And that purchase request should be created only when those steps have been completed and you get full traceability. Then we have other pain points, other situations. How many of your companies actually do contract services? And how do you monitor the delivery of those services when we are, for example, speaking about time and means, and time and means to that you need to control to make sure you do not overspend, right? So this solution is really helpful to control this type of services because it has a kind of a application that the supplier can use directly to report all the time sheets, and that should be linked, in fact, to the initial requirements, initial rate cards provided, and that gives you full visibility and traceability. Doing this process of reviewing services delivery manually is really time-consuming and very, very risky. Then I just wanted to highlight a couple of issues that are very much related to the invoice. There are invoices that are coming without a PO number, invoices that cannot be reconciled with the PO, or that cannot be reconciled with the contract, because all this information is spread in different systems or even just manual information or some email. And that, in fact, is the most critical point we see in terms of efficiency of the process. This is really something that a digital solution can help to improve very, very quickly and in a very relevant manner from cost reduction perspective. Then I will just refer to one final scenario that is relevant in supply disruption. This is something we are facing today because of COVID. We need to be more aware of what's happening with our suppliers. And the digital solution will not many of the activities to your supplier, which makes it efficient and also helps to keep your supplier very much involved and happy with the invoicing process. But also, they will have the possibility to give you information very often updated about the risk, and you can have full visibility, almost 360 visibility of their information, of course, the suppliers, but also their performance, and further and more relevant now, the risks they are facing, and how these risks are now increasing due to the situation, and that will help also, of course, to take reactions or make mitigating measures as soon as possible. That you can also track it with the digital solution. So being aware of the time, I will go very fast just to tell you that we have seen many cases that where companies have implemented solutions and the benefits are very important. So I just picked two cases. One is a company who is a bank and had a very slow process, very manual. And in 3 months, they achieved to fully digitalize their process and have now more than 1,000 invoice processed in a monthly basis, with a very, let's say, good reduction of time to complete the process. And we have a second case that actually, yes, shows a bit of similar scenario, but here the important or the critical point is that they did not have any visibility on suppliers, and the focus for this insurance company was to leverage better on their suppliers' information, and right now they have completed a database which is allowing them to take smarter decisions on how they manage the relationship and price negotiation with suppliers. So, looking at the time, I need to now introduce you Paul Menut, my colleague who is talking about Azure.
Yes. Hello everyone. I'm Paul Menut. I am manager within PwC advisory offices in Paris, and I work in a practice which name is SSMs for Strategic Supply Chain Management. And we help companies in order to improve their practice in terms of purchasing. And what I would like to share with you today, so Yoliana has talked about examples on how digitalization can help to ensure P2P process robustness and efficiency. And I will present you today an example on how digitalization can help to identify risks across the supply chain, to study the spend, and to provide alternative suppliers, and identify also define a purchasing performance plan, complete purchasing performance plan. So the example I would like to share with you today is an approach that we have developed and we have conducted with 7 first companies in the east of France. So we have helped them in a particular context, because of course we were during the first lockdown of the COVID business, so we started the program in March this year, and we would like to answer to 2 major stakes that are that companies are coping with today, especially today with this particular context. It's how to build a strong supply chain, how to monitor the risk across the supply chain and across the supplier panel, and how to increase their profitability. because of the context, of course. And these two questions needed a very quick answer because of the context. So we thought about a methodology which is really fast, and in order to answer really quickly to these questions, we needed to develop a specific software. And with this specific software, we have analyzed 155 million of purchasing spend to more than 2,800 suppliers in terms of financial risk, country risk, epidemic risk, of course, ESG, which is social and responsibility topics, dependence, or market insights, market tensions. We have proposed 300 alternative suppliers on the purchasing category which was at risk. And these 300 alternative suppliers have been approved by the client, at least for an RFI, for a request for information, and most of the time for a request for quotation in the next 6 months. We have also, because I was talking about the purchasing performance and the profitability, we have also identified 9 million euros of savings, of potential savings. So identified by the implementation of purchasing levers, of course, commercial, but also in terms of standardization of the needs, in terms of mutualization of the needs, in terms of design to cost for industrial companies. So several levers that we have used in order to identify purchasing performance opportunity. And we talked about doing the approach very quickly, and we observed that we have saving a lot of time in comparison with classical consulting approach that we used to conduct before. We have saved roughly more than 90% of time saved during risk analysis and also spend analysis. And how we do that concretely, I will show you very quickly the approach, and you will see how we proceed. So first of all, we are coming from the customer data. So very common data that we can find in every accounting systems. So in order to identify the suppliers, of course, in our database, in order to see the amounts of spend, of course, in order to see billing dates, etc. Very common information. In order to have directly, without spending a lot of time with many interviews and so on, in order to have a complete spend analysis with the classical KPIs we use in purchasing, such as Pareto's, of course, but also dependency rates, seasonality of the spend, etc., in order to have the global picture of the economic stakes by purchasing family, by suppliers, strategic suppliers, etc., from the company. Second step is to, of course, to map the risk on the supplier panel, and in order to do that, we match the information of the identification of the supplier, such as localization and identification numbers, in order to cross with our internal database and external database, in order to assess the supplier on different topic. The first one is financial, of course. When we talk about risk and when we talk about consequence of COVID, unfortunately, we will be exposed a lot on financial stakes and financial risks. So financial is the first one. We check also the market evolution on each purchasing category. We can check also the country political risk, country stability and political risk with external database, which are updated regularly. The country epidemic risk, of course, we talk about our current situation, so the aim is also to have a vision on how the countries are prepared to cope with this kind of epidemic risk. And today we cannot avoid to talk about social and environmental risks, and this is also another topic that we assess here. I said that we need also a quick solution. So when we identified risks across the supplier panel, we need to propose quickly, very quickly, a list of alternative suppliers in terms of for each purchasing family we identify with the client, and providing him this complete list of alternative suppliers in France. So the aim is to qualify with him that we are well on the same range and with the same needs, that we answer with the needs. And finally, provide him the cost reduction plan I've talked about at the beginning. So a complete performance plan with all the levers and all the evaluation linked to each lever. Okay, I will just show you a quick, short video in order that you see just the screen that we share on the first interview with the client, and after I will let Yoliana conclude for if you have any questions, of course. And we will go quickly through the video, but just to show you that without any interview, we have already all the classical representation of the spend. Where are the spend? Which is the spend in a low-cost country? Where is located the spend? Which are the purchasing categories, etc. You see illustration of Pareto for purchasing families, which is done automatically in order to see where are the economic stakes. Very quickly, I jump into okay, you have here also the spend by supplier in order to identify strategic suppliers and so on. We have here the Pareto, of course. And okay, here the dependency rate I was talking about at the beginning, the seasonality of the spend. All these KPIs will help us to identify the stakes and to provide very quickly relevant analysis to our clients. I jump into the risks. You see here the financial evaluation based on financial statement for each supplier, which is a very good insight usually for our customer in order to see which are the supplier at risk in terms of financial risk. You see here an illustration of the let's say epidemic risk analysis. You see also the country risk I was talking about, and then at the end, we have also a complete vision of the alternative supplier we will propose. I will show you that very quickly. But yeah, we will see here the original supplier and then the alternative supplier, which are quoted with the same basis, the same methodology. And here, where are the original supplier in blue, and the alternative in red, where they are located, and so on. So I'm done with this presentation. If you have any question, please don't hesitate. I will give you back the presentation, the hand, Yoliana, in order to finish if you want.
Correct. Thank you. I think we have no more time for questions, but I just wanted to conclude that this is a very interesting solution that has been created during the crisis and to respond very quickly to the risks that are arising during the COVID time, and that can be deployed, as mentioned, 3-4 weeks. So we are happy to take your questions. If you have any, please not hesitate to send or to contact us via email. I think that's all for the moment. I'm checking. I don't see other questions in the chat. I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.